As we saw in the roadmap teaser, the Cheshire Cat's unmistakable grin is sitting up in a tree in the Forest of Valor, and the phrase "Step into Wonderland" is featured underneath with the date Spring 2025. But given that we are now in spring, the Star Path is ending in a couple of weeks, I thought that it could be a fun time to take a look and maybe speculate on what might be coming with a possible Wonderland update and whether we are going to indeed fall down the rabbit hole. I'm also wondering what this actually means for the game. Will we get a realm? Will we see Alice herself? What kind of furniture and decor could we see with a possible Wonderland update? So today I'm going to break down what we know so far, spoiler alert, not too much, but also share a few of my own predictions on what the update could bring this time around. And if you enjoy a good deep dive into something, I will be doing some additional in-depth videos on kind of like the Star Path, what we could see, what furniture we could see, character houses, all of that sort of thing. Keep an eye out for that, but this is more of an overview video of what we could see, just kind of like high level. And I'm going to finish the overview of the overview, and we're just going to get straight into it and take a look at what we know so far and what we could be seeing to come. All right, so the first stop kind of like on this speculation journey is number one, clues from the teaser that we got. So obviously this teaser image did come from the showcase stream last October, and it does lay out the roadmap for the next couple of months. We've obviously already had the Aladdin update, we've got the Peter Pan update to come with Skull Rock, and then right in the middle is the Wonderland update. So we see the Cheshire Cat, we see his little grin, and he's kind of like floating up in a tree in the Forest of Valor. Now, I don't think Gameloft tends to tease these things randomly, so this almost certainly means that he's coming as a character at the very least. It's just how he's going to come as a character. That's what I'm kind of interested in, because I do find it fascinating that they've shown us him already in the forest, which kind of like begs the question to me, will we be getting a realm? Will this just be a character update? I'm going to go into that in a little bit in the kind of like realm section, but it is something to note that our first look at the Cheshire Cat is kind of like already in the valley. We've also got the phrase "step into a land of wonder." Now, to me, that sounds more like a place than just a character update. That does kind of like infer to me that we're going to be getting a realm for Wonderland. And then also the mention of friends, specifically plural, is suggesting more than one addition coming to the valley with this update. If we do look at Gameloft's usual pattern, they often alternate between realms and kind of like specific character updates that do not come with a realm. And we did just have Agrabah come with Aladdin, so it does make me wonder if they would follow up with another one so soon. But the word in here does feel like they might be trying something a little bit different. I don't know. It could be some sort of hybrid, maybe not just a specific traditional realm, but I'm wondering if we maybe find the Cheshire Cat in the valley first and then go to a realm after. I know that they don't tend to stray far from their usual structure, but there is a chance. I mean, there's always a chance with Gameloft for them to do something different. While I was working on this video, we did actually get our very first look at an Alice/Wonderland themed item, thanks to Gameloft's April Fool's tweet. So we did take a look at this deconstructor in another video. I said in that video as well, I absolutely love how this turned out. They've 100% like leaned into the whimsy of Alice. And I've seen some really fun theories that this will probably be called the Uncrafter due to like the Unbirthday and stuff like that from the Wonderland movie. I think that's a great suggestion. I think that's probably spot on actually. But in general, this just looks fantastic. It was everything I wanted from like a Wonderland update or a piece of Wonderland furniture. So as we go through the video and as I kind of like speculate, this is what I had in mind. So I do hope whatever we talk about, they actually bring this vibe into everything they do for this next update, because I think they could really put it off based on what we've seen. Moving on to likely characters. Now, the Cheshire Cat is almost certain we see him. I don't think it's going to be a companion of sorts. You know, it's an update and they featured him as the header image for that update. So we'll definitely be getting the Cheshire Cat as a valley villager, and I think that's a great choice. His mischievous personality kind of like fits the valley perfectly, and I would love to see some of those unique animations from him, sort of like floating, fading in and out, or vanishing when idle, you know, kind of like Vanellope when she's glitching. I think they could do something really fun with that, and I suspect he could easily have some quest lines based around kind of like playing tricks or causing chaos that we have to clean up afterwards. You know, the quests are very similar with Disney Dreamlight Valley, but I think they could do some fun kind of like dialogue with him, and I'm excited to see what they do with the Cheshire Cat. Next up in my list of likely characters is Alice. Now, I think she's likely, but obviously not confirmed. But you know, if we're heading to Wonderland, Alice is the obvious choice. And I think that if we do find her lost in Wonderland, maybe like we did with Belle, with her realm, and then we would help her return to the valley. I mean, that is the concept traditionally of anyone that does come with a realm. We had a similar experience with Jasmine and Aladdin, so I would expect some sort of storyline around Alice being kind of like stuck in Wonderland, but we're going to bring her back to the valley, you know, traditional stuff. But of course, if this is an Alice in Wonderland sort of update, then Alice would really be the natural choice as a second character to come this time around, at least. The third option, which I do think is a possible addition, is Mad Hatter, and we could be seeing Mad Hatter come with this update if they decide to withhold Alice for whatever reason. I mean, the Mad Hatter is one of the most iconic characters from the film, and a lot of people know the Mad Hatter outside of Alice in Wonderland, especially like the animated version. So I do think that he could easily pop up in a future update. Even if it's not this one, at least they've got something in their back pocket. They've got a whole host of secondary characters from the Alice movie. So I would definitely think that we'll see him at some point. I don't think we'll see him this update, but you know, I could be wrong. Slightly lower down the list is the Queen of Hearts. Now, she is still one of the major Disney villains that is missing from the game. But with that being said, we haven't actually had a base game villain since Scar, I believe. And that was quite a while ago. I think that was over 2 years ago. But now that the DLCs are handling a lot of the villain content, because the DLCs seem to have kind of like this overarching hero versus villain theme, I think she might be reserved for that alongside a couple of the other major villains that we just seem to be missing from the valley, especially because there's so many secondary characters in Alice. Like I just said, I'm not sure that the villain will make the main roster again for kind of being like a free update. I don't know. We'll have to see on that one. I'll be interested to see this year if they do a DLC again, if it has that theme of here's the hero, here's a big bad villain, because that will kind of like set the tone then. It's happened twice. If it happens 3 times, I can see that being kind of like the way we move forward with DLCs and villains and how they're kind of like introduced to the game in the future. Finally, kind of a wild card. I mean, the White Rabbit, I feel like he does have enough personality to be a full character, but I'm wondering if Gameloft might reduce him to a companion. And I don't mean just kind of like shrinking his character model down. I just wonder if maybe we'll be getting sort of like a White Rabbit companion or his outfit on one of the rabbit critters, if that makes sense. I'm hopeful that they don't, because it's just another character that they could introduce in a future update. They've done pretty well with fleshing out the supporting characters before, so, you know, it could be that we get the White Rabbit in 3 or 4 years' time when they decide to revisit Alice or revisit the realm or something like that. But yeah, I feel like it could be an option. I don't think it's going to be this update. Moving on to the realm, Wonderland or not. So if we go back to the teaser image, the phrase "step into a land of wonder" does make it sound like we're getting a proper location, but does that actually mean a realm? So I've kind of gone through and I've made some lists for and against. So reasons we might get a realm, the wording itself really leads into the concept that this is going to be a new area. Wonderland has been a very highly requested realm, and it would fit the realm format perfectly. I think that they could do so much stuff with a Wonderland realm, and I think that they could really pull it off. There's also the possibility of another set of mechanics, maybe shrinking or something like that. We did see the mini stealth segment with the Aladdin realm. But having said that, in the tutorial I bought the stealth mode, it does say guards. It says something to do with guards. So I'm wondering if that is kind of like alluding to the card guards that we see in Alice in Wonderland. I don't know. There's something there. I find it interesting that they introduced it with Aladdin, and we did use it, but it was kind of like for a random quest for Scrooge when it would have fit maybe a little better with Alice, or maybe it was a preparation sort of thing. I'm not sure. I'm interested to see how that pans out. And of course, don't forget Ever After in Storybook Vale, especially kind of like Teapot Falls, gave us Alice adjacent vibes. It had the checkerboard floor, it had the giant teapot, we got the oversized mushrooms, the broken tea set. So they've already kind of like stepped into that world, which I do find really interesting, that we got a bunch of like almost Alice themed stuff without being tagged as Alice in the DLC before we even got the update. Kind of a strange one. But that said, if they end up not doing a realm, I would feel a little bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I do hope that they can be quite imaginative with it, but some reasons we might not get a realm. We literally just got Agrabah, so that is probably the main point, and realms do take time, especially because Agrabah was so vast. It was so big. There was so many parts to it. I actually think that they did a wonderful job with Agrabah, but I don't see them, I don't know, I don't see them following Agrabah up with another realm of that caliber. I hope that they do, and I hope that they've been able to find the way and the space and, you know, the sort of dev resources to be able to do that. But I worry that they haven't, and I'm worried that Wonderland either won't get a realm or it'll get like I said, a disappointing realm. Fingers crossed it doesn't. But as I said earlier, they do kind of follow a realm character update schedule, so that is kind of like a point against having a realm again. Especially because if we look at the roadmap, Skull Rock is going to be opening sort of like in the summer, and it feels like we're going to be going inside Skull Rock, which to me says that that is probably going to be a realm. So I just don't see how we're going to, I don't know. I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't see how we're going to get realm almost, especially if Skull Rock is like a realm that's not actually in the Dream Castle. I'm happy to be proven wrong, most definitely. And you know, it does say step into a land of wonder, but is that just a vague reference? And kind of like the point against it again is seeing the Cheshire Cat in the Forest of Valor. We're not seeing it in a realm, so it could be the fact that this is just going to be a character update and we're reading far too much into the wording. But you know, it would be a shame given how rich the Wonderland aesthetic is. But I do think there's possibility of a hybrid. Maybe we could unlock the Cheshire Cat in the Forest of Valor, and then after a quest or two we gain access to a Wonderland themed realm through the Dream Castle. Obviously we'd have to pay Dreamlight for it, but that could be like a proper fall down the rabbit hole moment. I don't know. One of my favorite things about the updates, of course, especially because this is kind of like a decorating game once quests are finished, is what decor that this update could bring us. And as I said in the previous section, the Wonderland aesthetic is very rich. It's very fleshed out. They've even got the live action to draw from if they wanted to. So I could see some really fun additions coming in terms of kind of like decor. Obviously, we do already have the spinning teacups attraction, and then we've got some of the giant mushrooms from the Storybook Vale. But I do think if they go all in on Wonderland, especially if they pull from both the animated and the live action films, there's a lot of potential. Just a couple of ideas from me. I'm going to do some deeper dives, as I said at the top, but I would love to see like a full Mad Tea Party set. So something from the movie, something adjacent, kind of like with this style, oversized teacups, crooked tables, I don't know, pastel stuff. It would be nice to get a real big centerpiece that is like the full Mad Tea Party. I don't know, I think that would be cool. I'd also really be interested to see the card soldiers sort of like brought in some way, whether they're statues, maybe they could even be interactive. We don't get all that interactive furniture in Dreamlight Valley sometimes. Like one of my favorite things is the sushi chef from the Monsters Inc. premium shop bundle that we got. Like that animation is fantastic. So I would love to see some more interactivity. But even then, we could even see that these statues could be a fence. Now that would be fun if they actually sort of like made a low level fence made of cards. I would really enjoy that. That would add a little bit of whimsy. So yeah, the card soldiers in some way, that would be a great addition. And then just like personal for me, I would love to see another maze style bundle, but this time inspired by Shanghai Disney instead. So the maze bundle that we did get with Alice was based on Disneyland Paris, but Shanghai Disney have this incredible Alice maze. Now it is taken from the live action, so you can see the kind of like centerpiece of that is Helena Bonham Carter, but I do think that they could have some heart-shaped topiaries, the Queen's Throne, maybe in flamingo decor. It is technically from the live action films, obviously, but it fits the vibe beautifully. I don't know how they would translate that big sort of like Helena head into the valley, but I would love something like that. Or I'd just love like an addition to the maze set that we got, but I don't think that one's going to happen. That's kind of like a wish list for me. With Dream Styles this time around, I do think that this one is tricky because most Wonderland characters actually wear the same outfit throughout the film, and the animated version doesn't really leave much room for alternates. So honestly, I don't think that we'll see any Dream Styles this time around unless they really go off script or even dip into the live action version specifically for outfits. But I don't know, I feel like that could be a bit odd on the animated model, especially if it's from sort of like the 1951 version. I'm happy to be wrong on this one, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it because honestly, my prediction is that we get no Dream Styles with the Star Path this time around. Speaking of a star path, and you know that I love to do star path speculation, even if I'm wrong, although we were pretty close with the Aladdin one. Or, well, it didn't end up being Aladdin, but you know, the update name was kind of similar to what we came up with in the previous star path video. I am going to do a deeper dive on the possible star path that we will get with Alice, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be doing a much deeper dive into furniture and stuff like that. This is more just of an overview of what I think we might see. But in terms of like a quick look at the star path we might get, or even just some names, I do think it could be one that is really whimsical this time around. Maybe it'll be spring themed, which would be weird following a kind of like a summer themed one. But you know, I love throwing out some star path names, so I feel like we might see something like Whimsy and Wonder. I feel like that is very Gameloft. Something a bit more specific could be like Curiouser and Curiouser. We do have a Flynn Rider quest, I believe, under that name. Or maybe we'll get something like very on the nose of Down the Rabbit Hole. But inside of that star path, we obviously usually get a couple of different categories of rewards. And inside of those, we obviously usually get like clothing. So I can see some additional things inspired by Alice. I know that we got the dress in the premium shop a couple of weeks ago. I would like to see some other things maybe inspired by Alice, or even just the Mad Hatter and the Queen of Hearts. I feel like there's parts of their outfits that we could like bring into the valley and it would be really fitting, you know, especially the Mad Hatter's eccentric attire. It would be really nice. And it would be nice to see them do like some, maybe it doesn't have to be a direct replica of Mad Hatter, but I would love to see some inspiration, especially with the Queen of Hearts. I think that there's so much they could do clothing wise with her aesthetic, and I do think that there could be like Wonderland inspired accessories as well, so maybe another pocket watch or even like a teacup headband or something. Those would be really fun. Furniture and decor, obviously we did just touch on this, but there are so many options from the environment of the film and even the parks to choose from that there is a wide breadth of inspiration available. I do think as well the stage show from Disneyland Paris could be like a real showstopper of a centerpiece. We know that Gameloft love to do stages and things like that. I don't know, I could see this being a really fun addition if they wanted like maybe like a wow factor for one of the rewards. Looking at potential companions as well, as I said earlier, possibly the White Rabbit. But if we don't get a Hatter outfit for us, like for our game avatars, then, you know, I could kind of expect Gameloft to slap it on a squirrel like they usually do and call it a day. You know, maybe they'll just reuse the one that we got from the snowman from the winter update. I hope not, but we'll have to see. Obviously, it's my preference that we get a Wonderland Star Path. Having a look at some of the previous ones, we do seem to be getting more vague, I guess is the right word, Star Path themes. Again, I'm going to do a deeper dive into this and take a look and kind of like compare in another video. But we're not really getting IP specific Star Paths anymore, not really since the Mulan update. There's a couple of items from the franchises within the Star Path, but you know, they're just very vague at the moment, kind of like Oasis, winter, concert, you know, so I'm not holding out hope that we are going to get a Wonderland Star Path, so I'm tempering my expectations and expecting to kind of like only have a handful of Wonderland items thrown in some completely unrelated Star Path. All right, gang, so what do you think? Are we really going to be stepping into Wonderland? Could we be seeing a realm? Or might it just be a few themed items and a couple of characters? Whatever it is, let me know your predictions down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my predictions. Maybe you think I'm way off, and that's okay too. I always love hearing your thoughts on it, so it's good to chat. You know, it's good to chat. But equally, if there's something else that you'd love me to cover, then definitely let me know down in the comments below as well. With all that being said, I will leave it there for today. I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in Wonderland.